Revelation 3905, from the 16th of October 1946. God Himself as Teacher. Knowledge of the plan of salvation. In all abundance you can receive strength and grace from me if only you desire it and open yourselves to it. Thus my Spirit will also be able to work in you according to your desire. And it will guide you into all truth. If you have me as your teacher, your knowledge must also be perfect, that is, you must be well instructed in all areas which encompass spiritual knowledge. For if your knowledge is piecemeal, if you don't recognize the correlations, my reign and activity will also remain incomprehensible to you. You will be in doubt and remain without an answer if you seek the answer elsewhere than from me. And so you must first know about my eternal plan of salvation. You must know about the relationship between the created and the Creator. You must first be aware of the fact that everything created must have a purpose, otherwise the creation would truly not be the testimony of a wise power. You must recognize the meaning and purpose of what has been created, because only then will you be able to recognize the Creator Himself, whom His love and His wisdom motivated to let His will become active and thus His omnipotence take effect. Once you know about this eternal plan of salvation, you will no longer lack understanding if you are offered a teaching from the heavens, and your knowledge can be expanded in every direction. The upward development of the spiritual is and will remain the meaning and purpose of everything that is apparent to you, and it is the meaning and purpose of the human being's earthly life. However, this ascent development has to proceed within a period of time determined by me, because my divine order has to be observed, and this requires a limitation of a redemption or development period. For according to this order of mine from eternity, the stage of development as a human being can only be covered by completely free will. But free will can also oppose my order of eternity, and an increased degree of opposition results in dissolution, thus in a complete rejection of me, and thus in a rejection of my strength which sustains everything. And if I withdraw my will and my strength from the created being because I cannot supply it with such against the human being's will, this signifies a passing away of the external form and a solidification of the spiritual substance within him. Something that should freely develop upwards must also have the possibility to resist my supply of strength, because the ascent development must take place in free will. If the will is abused to an increased degree, that is, if it is active in the wrong direction, then this is a raging against my eternal order, and its consequence is complete earthly and spiritual decay. Then one period of development has to be brought to an end and a new one has to be started again, which begins in my eternal order again and includes every possibility to come close to me in freedom of will. If the human being knows the meaning and purpose of creation and earthly life, if he therefore knows my eternal plan of salvation, he will also understand that these epochs have to be repeated and that it will take eternities until all spiritual substances have covered the path of ascent to me. And then he will also know when the state of dissolution has occurred. He will recognize by humanity's spiritual law when the end of a redemption period is to be expected, for he will know when the law of eternal order is transgressed, just as he will also recognize that I can never ever change this state such that I make the human being's will unfree, and thus he has to live compulsorily in my order, but that I must bind his will in another form, that I certainly leave him the possibility of an ascent development. Yet no longer is a free being in the human being, but that I banish the spiritual again in matter, and such banishing requires new creations. Thus also previous dissolution of the old creations which no longer fulfill their purpose. And this happens periodically, as it has been determined since eternity. For I foresaw the direction of humanity's will from eternity, and my plan of salvation is also determined according to it. Amen.